everyone. Thank you for listening to the Pain and Panic Trip Planning Podcast. My name is Haley Ragsdale, and I'm here with my brother, Owen Rederer.
Hey, y'all.
We're a sibling duo who loves everything Disney and Universal, especially the theme parks. Our goal with this podcast is to help you take the pain and panic out of trip planning and bring a little bit of Disney magic to your home. I am a travel agent who is a proud affiliate of Academy Travel and would love to help you plan your next Disney vacation, so you can reach out to me at Haley.Ragsdale at academytravel.com to start planning your next dream vacation at Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Universal, Adventures by Disney, Disney Cruise Line, and so much more. So before we get into today's topic, Owen, do you have anything you'd like to bring to the table? Any news or anything?
I think you have the big news.
I do have big news. And I'm really excited. I got the go-ahead from Jack, too, like an hour ago, so I'm really excited. But I was basically through Academy Travel. I was invited by Universal to go to Epic Universe on May 18th for a preview. So I'm super excited. I'm definitely going to make it happen. So it's going to be a little crazy. I'm basically going to go. So my preview's on a Sunday. So I'll drive down Saturday, go to the preview Sunday, get y'all all the good content and things. So follow me on social medias, and then drive back on Monday. So it's going to be a blast, and I'm really, really excited. And I haven't told my youngest brothers that I'm going to miss their graduation yet, but I think they'll understand.
Hey, their graduation's at like 7 p.m., and I gotta be up at 4 a.m. the next morning, so I probably won't go either.
That's fair. Mom will send me a video of them walking across the stage. Preston's probably listening to this and like, what the heck?
For real.
He's our number one listener. Shout out to Preston. Congrats on graduating. I'm going to go to Epic Universe instead of going to your graduation.
Yeah.
But I'm super excited. So make sure and follow me on all the social medias. I'll be posting on Instagram, TikTok, and all that kind of stuff. And I'll let you guys know what I think when I get back. I'm super duper excited. So yeah, I don't know. There's not a ton of like Disney news, Universal news right now. Disney is opening up a new lounge area in Epcot, which is exciting. So they've released kind of the menu and things, and it looks mostly like it's Epcot themed. It is a 21 plus lounge, so kids aren't allowed in it, which is very interesting because it's Disney World. But that's in Epcot. That'll be exciting. But yeah, other than that, the big thing going on right now is pretty much Epic Universe. Everybody's stoked for Epic Universe. It's got all the big hype and stuff is around that. I think Disney's really going to have to pull out all the stops to kind of keep up with that. They do have a lot of the Disney things like the Villains show and things like that they're announcing and putting more content out for. But I think they're really going to have to step it up in order to keep up with Universal. So yeah. All right, Owen, you ready to get into it?
You know I am. I always am. Let's do it.
So today we are, because like I was just saying, this would have been a great, what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? Would have been a great segue. If I had just gone straight from my Universal versus Disney spiel into our topic for the day, which is Disney versus Universal rides. So it's been a while since Owen's been to Universal. I've been several times within the last few years. So I've ridden most of the rides on Universal's list, at least at Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios. Owen's obviously a Disney pro like me, but there will be some that Owen's not as familiar with, but we're still going to compare the two. So basically we're going to go through a couple lists that we pulled off of Google. It's basically lists of Disney rides and Universal rides, and then say, okay, we'll talk about one ride and then compare, one ride at Disney and then come up with a ride at Universal that's similar or something like that.
Yep.
Owen, anything you want to add?
I would say, like Haley said, I haven't been to Universal in a long time. It's probably been, probably 10 years almost. So it's been a while, and my knowledge might be a little outdated, but I do remember a good amount of rides from when I did go. So, this will be interesting. I think this will still be fun, and I think it'll be cool comparisons.
Yeah, for sure. So before we get into it, like the specific rides, let's talk about Universal versus Disney as a whole. So Disney usually is more immersive in that immersive idea. Their theming's going to be on point. There's going to be little details. You're going to learn something new every single time you ride a ride. Is basically going to be their goal. Whereas Universal typically is going to be more of those thrill-seeking rides. They're going to go for the most innovative ride structures, things like that. But lately, which I think is interesting, especially with the opening of Epic Universe, Universal went like full force not only with thrill-seeking rides and the latest technology, but also with the immersive experiences. And that's why I think they're really going to be putting the pressure on Disney, because Universal just stepped right into Disney's realm and said, hey, we can do it too.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how this all plays out.
Yeah, I think what they did with Epic Universe and having all these different worlds that have their own themes, especially the way that they have the tunnels that lead to each world, like it makes the immersive experience so much better, because you're taking this tunnel into a different world. It's not like you're just walking up to a gate and you're like, oh yeah, it's an amusement park, whatever. But it feels like you're teleporting there, and the surrounding details that they add, all of the things that make you feel, the way that Isle of Berk is all wood pretty much, and the dark universe is very gloomy and set with Gothic architecture. Everything makes it so incredible, and Disney's been doing that for a long time, but now Disney's going to have to work a little bit harder, because, I mean, honestly, from what I've seen, I haven't been there yet, but the Epic Universe style and how they set up everything, it might be better than how Disney usually does it. I mean, don't get me wrong, when Disney did the whole Avatar thing and they created the floating islands and stuff, that's super immersive. That's super cool, especially when you go, like, you're walking through Animal Kingdom and all of a sudden everything is just Navi, right? It is an incredible experience. But I don't know. I think Disney might have a run for their money in this situation. So, but we're gonna compare these rides. We're gonna see,
Yeah.
how they compare. And honestly, I'll try not to be biased, but I'm a big fan of Disney rides. I love a good story, and I love a good immersive experience. So,
No, I think that's totally fair. And I think especially with today's podcast, because we're not bringing any of the Epic Universe rides into it, we're just going with like the classic rides at Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios. I think we will probably do this podcast again at a later date when we have spent that time at Epic Universe. Because I really think Epic Universe is where they're saying like, hey, Disney, we might get you beat with this one, because, it's been over 20 years, right? Since a Disney park opened. I mean, did the last one open in like the 90s or 80s or something? I don't know.
what was
Let me
the
look it up.
last one
I
that
don't want to say
opened?
the wrong thing. The last Disney park. I want to say it was Animal Kingdom, but I could be wrong.
I feel like it was probably
Nope.
the switch to Hollywood Studios.
Yeah, but would you count that as a new park, or
I guess not. It's more of a
you know what I mean?
reimagining.
Yeah, exactly. So Animal Kingdom opened in 1998.
And that was the last one.
That was their last park opening. And so I think that's where, like, they've added a lot of things to the parks that are cool. They've added, like, Avatar, they've added all sorts of things. But where Universal is coming in, they're saying, hey, here's a whole new park with all sorts of immersive experiences and awesome rides. And we did it before Disney put out any of their new ideas, blue sky ideas. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Definitely giving Disney a run for their money here.
It's practically 5 new parks. I mean, each area, I bet I could spend an entire day in every single one of those parks. Like, I would dedicate a whole week
Yep.
just to go to Epic Universe because, I mean, I know I would spend a whole day in the Super Nintendo Land for sure because you have Donkey Kong Country and like the Super Mario World. You have both of those to
Yeah.
explore. Then you go over to Dark Universe and you have at least 4 or 5 rides that you have to experience, plus restaurants, plus just going and meeting characters and stuff. I want to meet that one guy. What's his name? Is it Igor?
Yeah, there's Igor, and then there's like the Invisible Man. That looks
That
fun too.
that would be cool.
But it definitely, right, it definitely looks, and I'll be interested to see if it's, like Toy Story Land, for example. Super immersive land, looks incredible, but the way they built it, it's kind of miserable in there. Like, it's a wonderful land, it's beautiful. If it's not too busy in the parks, it's great, but there's no shade, there's no tree cover, there's no, the walking paths are tiny. You're like weaving in and
Yeah.
out of people, trying to get through there. It's not really made to stop and look and be immersed. It feels just like one singular pathway. And so I hope that none of the Epic Universes areas are like that, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens.
I mean, from what I've seen so far, like you were saying with the paths, I feel like the Toy Story area is literally just one snaking path that goes through that area, and you just kind of break off into the
Yeah.
ride or the restaurant or whatever. But from what I've seen so far with Epic Universe, they have like it's almost like one circular area. There's one open area in the middle, and it breaks off into a bunch of little things, right? So,
Yeah.
it's not as one noted, not one path. Like you get to go around and explore instead of just walking through it, you know? And I think that does make a big difference, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. I'm excited to go in like literally a week and a half. It's going to be awesome. I
that's
will
so
report
that's so
back.
crazy. I'm so jealous.
No, they sent me the email this morning and I was like, no way. And it was literally like, hey, you've been picked. Here's your Epic Universe ticket. And they was just had the ticket there. And I was like, what?
That's crazy.
It was a very surreal experience this morning. So I'm
Yeah.
pretty darn excited. Okay, so let's get into it. Do you want to go with like the Disney ride first and then we can compare a Universal one to it, or
Well, so I think
go back
first
and
thing off the
forth?
bat we should do is talk about the obvious ones. Because I feel like
Yeah,
there's a couple rides that cross each other because there's a couple things we base this off of, right? So one
sure.
is theme. We can go ahead and talk about theme right away. Me personally, I think two themes that match or clash right away is obviously the Dino Ride and Jurassic Park, just because they're both
Okay.
dino themed. You're in both
Yeah.
situations. You're seeing dinosaurs, these animatronics, and then you're running away from a big dinosaur. It's
The
that's a pretty obvious theme comparison.
Yeah, are you going with the Jurassic Park, like the water ride?
That's the one I've ridden. Yeah,
Yeah. No, I think that's totally fair. I think the storyline behind the two is basically the same thing. Um, Almost. I mean, in Dinosaur, you get thrown back in time and you're running away from dinosaurs, whereas in the Jurassic Park one, you're in Jurassic Park and the dinosaurs get out and you're trying to escape or whatever.
yeah.
I would argue that ride system wise and ride feel wise, because I was going to say Revenge of the Mummy is similar to Dinosaur. Because I think the ride vehicle is similar. You're in like I think it's like two, I can't remember very well. It's been a while since I've ridden it, but it's like two lines of people, and it's like you're in like a little car thing, and you're basically like it's jerking you around, and it feels
Yeah.
almost like a dark ride like Dinosaur. Um, so that was going to be my ride comparison, is those two. I don't think you've ridden Revenge of the Mummy.
I was about to say I don't think I've ridden that one. And honestly, if you are comparing Jurassic Park and Dino Ride, I'm gonna vote for Dino Ride as being the better ride there, just because of the fact
Yeah.
that I do like the cart mechanic better and where you can get thrown around versus a water ride can only be so intense, right? Like you float down a river and then you have one big drop. I think that's the general way that water rides are structured. You look at Dollywood with River Rapids. You look at even Disney World's Splash Mountain, Princess Tiana's Bayou. They're all the same. Where
Yeah.
you go at a steady pace and then you drop. That's how it always is.
Yep.
So,
That was gonna be my other ride comparison for that one.
oh yeah. See, that would have made sense. Yeah, the Tiana's Bayou versus Jurassic Park. And in that case, I'm going. Well, actually, I haven't ridden Tiana's, but if we're,
Splash Country.
yeah, or Splash Mountain.
Splash Mountain. Sorry.
Yeah. Splash Country is the Dollywood water park.
Let's go with Dollywood Splash Country.
Yeah. Hey, there are some rides we can compare in Dollywood too if we want to. We throw everyone in the mix.
Oh, that'd be so funny. We will have to do a Dollywood episode here pretty soon.
Yeah.
Once we make a summer trip to Dollywood.
Oh, that'd be so much fun.
For those of you that don't know what Dollywood is, it's the theme park in Pigeon Forge. That's Dolly Parton. But it actually has fantastic rides, and it's like an hour from us. So,
yeah, we're a bunch of born and raised Tennesseans, and so
we weren't born here.
Oh yeah, I was born in New York.
I was born in Chicago,
but raised in Tennessee. But
raised in Tennessee.
Yeah, so we're big fans of Dolly. We love Dolly's theme park. Cinnamon bread and butterflies everywhere, but yeah.
I do love some Dolly cinnamon bread, not gonna lie.
But yeah, we can do some comparisons another time with Dollywood.
Yeah, back to the topic at hand.
Yeah.
But I think that's where this topic's going to be kind of fun, right? Is we're comparing, like, you have a comparison in your mind, and then I may have a different comparison. So, I mean, I think Jurassic Park and the dinosaur ride, yeah, those totally make sense because they're both dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I think the Mummy ride too, it's interesting. That's one of Jack's favorite rides at Universal. Dinosaur's obviously one of his other favorite rides, and so it's interesting that those two are where my brain went.
Yeah.
So I think he likes that style of coaster, I guess. Okay, next one. Let's say Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind.
Okay.
What would we give it to?
Honestly, looking at Guardians, number one ride at Disney World. That's my personal favorite out of all the rides. So that one's a hard one to beat. But if I were to think of one that would compare, it would probably be something in Epic Universe that I haven't ridden yet. Just because I know that a lot of their mechanics are building off of that. But pre-existing rides or I guess rides that I've ridden before. I don't know.
I was gonna say Escape of Gringotts or something like that is probably the closest in terms of ride mechanics and immersion.
See, I don't think I've
ridden that one. I don't think you have either. It's not. I've ridden it once, and then another time it was taking forever to get through. We stood in line for 2 hours and then got shuffled off because the ride had gone down. But it's one of the newer technologies for what they have right now. So I bet the other Harry Potter ride is probably going to be very similar to the Guardians idea, or the one in Epic Universe, the Wolfman one or whatever. Yeah. That seems like it's the same ride mechanics in the coaster. I don't know that there really is one singular ride that's like Guardians at Universal yet.
Yeah, I think they might be going somewhere with the booth style for the Frankenstein ride. I think that would be the closest comparison right now. But even then, you're not sitting in the same kind of... The way I think about it is the fact that you have so much mobility, because I think that's very important in a ride, especially these newer ones. I think that changes the game. I don't know. I don't know if...
No, I totally agree.
You'll have to give us an update whenever you go to Epic Universe in a couple weeks here. But
I will. I'm so excited. I will say, so in my opinion, the top ride at Universal is Velocicoaster, which I don't think you've ridden.
I don't think I have.
It's literally insane. Like, none of the Disney coasters compare to Velocicoaster, in my opinion. Like,
Yeah,
you're like sideways against water, you're doing flips, you're doing all sorts of things. It's insane. Um,
I mean, maybe
it's fantastic.
the closest thing to that one I would say is probably Tron, but I already know, like, not even riding Velocicoaster before, I can already tell you it probably beats Tron because I bet it's longer. Which is the one of the biggest
Yes.
downfalls of Tron is how short that ride is. So
Yes, I would say in terms of theming, they're on par with each other for a themed coaster.
yeah,
Um, like at the beginning of Velocicoaster, all of a sudden the Velociraptors are like running next to you, and then it shoots you off, which is similar to like the Tron thing where it's like loading in the game and it shoots you and all that. So
yeah.
I would say theming wise, I think they're very comparable for a themed coaster. I would say thrill wise, Velocicoaster eats Tron for breakfast. Like there's no comparison.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
I would say like Hulk, which is an older coaster, has more of a fighting or Tron has more of a fighting chance against like Hulk. I think Velocicoaster blows it out of the water.
Yeah, see, that's the thing with Disney rides. Like, I'm trying to think if there's any big, like, thrill-seeking rides that could even compare. Like, the biggest thrill seeker I can think of is Rock and Roller Coaster, but we already have a comparison that we talked about for that one, uh, which
Yeah.
we'll get to in a second. But um, I mean, maybe like, well, Expedition Everest is pretty intense, but I'm sure we can find a better comparison for that one.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
one comparison I do want to make, and I think you'll like this. The This is one of my favorite Universal rides that I remember, and that's Doctor Doom versus
Yes.
Hollywood Tower of Terror. I think those are two of the biggest like one of the closest comparisons we can make. Um,
Yes. I agree.
yeah. So, what are your? I'll let you speak on this one first.
No, I was gonna bring this up too. I think theming wise, Tower of Terror wins,
Yeah.
right? Because it totally immerses you. You're in this elevator shaft that's pulling you down. Knowing the ride mechanics and how it was very pivotal in like ride mechanic structures or whatever, and like
Yeah.
how they learned to do those drop rides. Because essentially, if they just dropped you, you wouldn't actually go that fast. So the ride mechanic actually pulls you downward to
Oh, I
make
didn't know
it
that.
feel like you're free falling. Yeah. And so I'm pretty sure Tower of Terror was one of the like first rides to do that where they really figured out how to make that work. Because they took elevators and they were trying to figure out how to make an elevator feel like it's free falling and realized they had to pull it as they went to make it go quickly. Um, I think with Doctor Doom's, it's so cool because it like I don't get scared on Tower of Terror.
Yeah.
I get scared on Doctor Doom's Fearfall because it
Yeah.
literally like it shakes you up and you're up there and you're staring at all the things and I'm pretty sure it drops you and then shoots you back up, right?
I
But I think
feel
it makes
like
you hang there for a second.
yeah, it does make you hang at the top. And honestly, like you said, theming wise, Hollywood Tower of Terror knocks it out of the park. I mean, the walk up is crazy, amazing. Like you walk up, you get put in that little room, they play the video, and then you go into another immersive, walkthrough, and then the way that you get on the coaster and you literally go on a track and go through a story before you even get to the drop. I think connecting those two was really clever. Having the like pulling up to the spot where you drop, it locks in, and then it starts flinging you around. Yeah, it's super cool. And I mean, this isn't a surprise because we knew that a lot of the theming was going to go to Disney, and then thrill
Yep.
seeking. I'm gonna have to say it goes to Doctor Doom because, like you said, I get terrified on that ride, and I love it because it
Yes.
brings you all the way to the top, drops you, shoots you back up, and then it's great.
Oh my gosh, it's terrifying.
Yeah, like even I hate to keep bringing Dollywood into this, but even the drop line at Dollywood, I mean that's bottom tier compared to the other two, right? Because it doesn't have theming, and then the drop is so much less intense because it doesn't do any extra. It literally just brings you to the top, drops you, and you hit the ground. You're done.
Yes, 100%.
So I think Doctor Doom does a great job with its thrill seeking, with its ride mechanic, and I mean even its theming isn't that bad. I personally, out of the two, I might pick Doctor Doom over Tower of Terror. And I'm just not as big of a Tower of Terror stan as some of our family members are, like Mimi. Mimi's a big Hollywood Tower of Terror stan, which I get. Tower of Terror also has the oldest and longest working worker in their
Oh yeah, yeah.
crew. I
You
forget
got a
his
picture
name,
with it.
but I did get a picture with him. Haley, if you have that picture, you can insert it here. But
Yes, I need to find it. I don't even remember which trip that was on, but I'll find it.
I think that was the family trip. I think that was the family trip.
I think so too. I feel like we've shouted out all the siblings except for Wyatt. So, hi Wyatt.
Wyatt, if you're watching this, you need to be better about your Disney. You are the least
Yeah.
enveloped Disney family member. The most excited I've seen you is with a dinosaur hat on. Or a Goofy hat. He goes crazy with that Goofy hat on.
I was bumped about that Goofy hat. Okay, let's go. So let's talk about. We were talking about earlier. We were talking about Rock and Roller Coaster.
Yeah.
So I think the most similar coaster to that one is going to be Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket, which is at the front of Universal Studios, and it's the one you used to be able to pick your song, and I feel like now you can't pick your song or something. They changed something. I don't know what it is, but you maybe there's. I think you pick the genre, and then it picks a song from that genre. I think. I could be
That's
wrong.
kind of lame.
I know, right? And so I would have to say, immersion wise, definitely Rock and Roller Coaster. There's not really any immersion with Rip Ride Rocket other than you get to pick your song. And Rip Ride Rocket breaks down all the time. Like if I got on that and it actually worked, it would have a better fighting chance. But the number of times I've been on it and I've been stuck in different places on that ride is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, that is a very good point. I was going to make an argument for Riptide, but the fact that, okay, now obviously we're just speculating, we don't know for sure, so maybe you can still pick your song. But if you can't pick your song anymore, then it's useless to me. Because that was going to be my main argument, is getting to pick your song and then go on the ride and like have it blaring in your ears as you're going through this intense coaster. Because, coaster-wise, great coaster. Being able to pick your song, awesome. But Rock and Roller Coaster, I mean, you're automatically given these amazing Aerosmith songs, and then you're going, like, it is a fast coaster. I mean, Rock and Roller Coaster is great. Now, let me just say this, though. I might go with Riptide just for the fact that they're changing it to Muppets. I mean, why?
Yeah, that's fair.
Unless they play Man or Muppet during that ride, I do not care. I probably will never ride it ever again.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so this says, yes, riders on Universal Studios Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket roller coaster can choose their own song to listen to during the ride. To access the hidden song list, riders can press and hold the ride logo for 10 seconds. This will reveal a numerical keypad where riders can enter a 3-digit code for a specific song from the hidden list.
Now that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
If you end up going to...
You just gotta know all the songs.
If you end up going to that area and riding that ride, you got to try that.
I will. It's interesting.
Interesting. You look more skeptical than intrigued.
I've been stuck on that ride so many times. It's exhausting. Okay, let's talk about some of the more kiddie rides, shall we?
Yeah.
So, Flight of the Hippogriff in the Harry Potter area is more of a kiddie ride, and I would put it as, like, it's a kiddie coaster. I would equate it to Slinky Dog Dash.
I was just about to say, I think that's the most accurate comparison you can make. Because neither of them really go upside down. They're on that track in the air, and they're pretty tame. I mean, they're both fun. Don't get me wrong, they're both fun. But, just standard kiddie rides.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, Men in Black Alien Attack and Toy Story Mania.
Is Men in Black a shooting ride?
Mhm.
Okay, I don't think
Yes.
I've ridden that one.
That's pretty
See,
fun. Go ahead.
now, I obviously I've never ridden Men in Black, so I don't know what it's like. But would you
Yeah.
compare it to Toy Story Mania, or would you compare it more to Buzz? Like, is it more of a Toy Story Mania like?
So I think Toy Story Mania is the newer technology.
Yeah.
So I would give it to Toy Story Mania because it's easier to play the games. It's a little more interactive. It's newer. I would argue though that Men in Black is probably more comparable to like the Buzz Lightyear ride. And if we're comparing those two, I would give it to Men in Black because I think it's better than Buzz. And I think those like game technologies are more from the same time, more comparable, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, the Buzz Lightyear ride is great. I think they really like they did a great thing with Toy Story Mania. Definitely one of my top five rides now. Um, but with Buzz Lightyear, half of your shots don't register, and I know I'm hitting that target because the one before it hit, and then I'm aiming at the same spot. There's no way. You know what I mean? I can see my laser.
Yes,
Okay,
very
Disney,
fair.
I can see my laser. I deserve the high score.
Very fair. What are some other ones that you would throw out there?
So one ride that I'm trying to remember what it's like is the Simpsons ride. I
Uh,
can't remember if it's much of like a what? Why are you laughing at me?
I hate the Simpsons ride. I hate it so much. I hate
Why?
it.
I'm
Because
trying to
it's
remember what it
like,
is.
oh, it's horrible. So you go in and you're in like the ride vehicle, right? And it's like one of
Okay.
those where you stay in the ride vehicle and it moves you in like the 3D motion and all that. But there is zero airflow. So you're just sitting in
Oh,
this like stale box getting thrown around. Oh, it makes me sick every single time. There's zero
oh,
airflow whatsoever.
so it's a stationary ride.
Yeah, so like in Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, when you go into like the undersea area and it like
Yeah,
you drop in and you're kind of like in the
that's
picture,
the worst part.
that's that's the whole Simpsons ride, but there's zero airflow. Like none whatsoever. It's horrendous.
Well, then, so if it's a standing ride, it doesn't move. I think the best comparison there might be the Navi journey.
Eh,
Because I mean that's the only standalone your stationary ride that.
no, Navi River Journey is like a oh, you're thinking of Flight of Passage.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, Navi River Journey is like a boat ride.
Yeah,
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 well,
yeah.
Flight
Sorry,
of
Flight of
Passage
Passage.
blows Simpsons out of the water. Simpsons is horrible.
Yeah, they blow water and air on you during that ride. Although I
Yes.
did almost get sick on last time we read that one, and ugh, it was rough.
Yeah, that's fair. That made me think of those. So the Transformers ride, I would say, is comparable to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
Okay.
Because it has a similar idea where it or Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, where it kind of
Yeah.
throws you into those like immersive 3D experiences, and then you go through like actual little
Yeah.
building kind of things.
Or Rise of Resistance or whatever. Rise of the Resistance.
That too. That too. I honestly rode Transformers I think once and I don't remember it, but I've heard good things about it from people.
Yeah.
So maybe Rise of the Resistance is where it would be the most comparable. Um,
Yeah. I
I don't
mean,
know.
I've never ridden Transformers, but let me tell you, the Rise of the Resistance, I'm not a big fan of Star Wars, and honestly, I'm not a big fan of the other rides that the Star Wars area has. I think Star Tours is so overrated. That ride sucks. I mean, that one is what you should compare Simpsons ride to, and then I would give it to Simpsons in that case. Star Tours, you literally sit in this box that has no airflow, like you said, and the theming is worse because I hate Star Wars. So,
I
Star
can't
Tours
with
sucks.
you. Your nephew Lucas had to come over here and tell you to quit hating on Star Wars.
Hey, Lucas.
Um, I mean, I'd agree that Simpsons and Star Tours could be comparable. I pick Star Tours every day though. I love Star Tours. That ride never makes me sick. I think it's fantastic. Simpsons sucks. Well, the ride. I love the show. The one good thing about the Simpsons ride is when you're waiting in the queue, they play Simpsons cartoons the whole time. And they're all
Oh,
like amusement park like kinds of things. So it's like the Simpsons like talking about Disney and all sorts of stuff. It's pretty good. Do you want to
yeah.
say something too?
Go ahead, Lucas. Tell us
We
what
have
you think.
a guest host.
He
He
wants
just
water.
wants my water.
Let me
Um,
see.
we haven't
Um,
talked about any of the water rides.
I mean, we talked about Jurassic Park and Tiana's a little bit.
That's true. I would say Cali River Rapids and what's the one with like Popeye and Blue Toes, whatever it
Oh
is.
yeah,
Those are both the same ride structure where it's those big circular rafts and you're on the rapids and like one person gets drenched and everybody else just laughs at them.
yeah.
Um,
Once again, water rides are always the same. There's never any like Dollywood has a ride exactly like that too. They
yeah.
have the river rampage or whatever. Like it's just
Yes.
you're in a wheel and you spin around a river and get splashed and it's I love water rides. I think they're fun, especially on a hot day, getting cooled down, whatever.
Yep.
Like Splash Mountain was my favorite ride of all time for a long, long time. But see, I've never even thought about that. But now you're getting me worked up. Why are there no better water rides? Why? Come on, Disney and Universal and Dollywood and every other theme park in the world. Give me a water ride.
I think that's a really interesting thought. Like, I feel like all water rides, I think you're right, are the same. Like, I don't know. It's pretty interesting. Any other ones you can think of off of our list?
Let me take a quick look.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel like there's so many more. Like, I want to bring up, like, the Hogwarts Express, for example. I don't know if, like, the monorail would, because the Hogwarts Express gets you in between the two parks. It gets you between Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios.
really?
And so you could argue that you could compare it to, the Skyliner or the monorail. And, I mean, the Hogwarts Express, it's basically a Harry Potter ride that gets you from park to park. It's pretty cool.
Yes,
You're
it's
literally
true.
riding for 40 minutes.
See, when I was thinking about something to compare that to, because that was one of the rides, the Harry Potter racing ride. I mean, Disney World doesn't really have any racing rides. I mean, the closest thing I can think of that even like slightly compares. I mean, this is an awful comparison, but Mickey and Minnie's has it where you have two carts that are next to each other and moving around each other and stuff. So I guess in a
Which one are you
way,
talking about?
what?
Are you talking about the Hogwarts one where you're like in the seat and it's like throwing you around? Or are you talking about the old one that they got rid of, the Dueling Dragons ride, where it's the two coasters going against each other?
They got rid of the Dueling Dragons.
Yeah, they got rid of it a long time ago.
Oh,
That's where Hagrid's is.
dang, that was the ride I was talking about. Well, it doesn't exist, so we don't have to compare it. See ya.
Well, I think that it now, like Stardust Racers, is supposed to be like that.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I was thinking about making that comparison, but I've
Yeah,
obviously
I
never
guess
ridden it.
we didn't talk about Hagrid's either, which is one of the newer coasters in that area, and it's awesome. It's very immersive.
Is it?
I would compare that one to Expedition Everest,
Okay.
and I would give it to Hagrid's.
See, now I've never ridden Hagrid's, but the likelihood that a Harry Potter ride would be able to beat anything in Disney for me is probably a no-go, because I also don't really like Harry Potter that much. Uh,
Oh,
if,
it's awesome.
if we're going to compare two things, let's compare my hate of Harry Potter to my hate of Star Wars. They're pretty even.
Oh my gosh. Get out. You're off the podcast. Removed from the podcast.
Fine, I'm taking my logo with me. I'm taking my Disney Magical minigames with me. Good luck. People watch for the handsome mustache man, okay? I'm just kidding. My videos don't even get
I'm
that many
kidding
views.
too. You could stay.
This is why you're going to Universal
It's fair.
without me.
Um, I'm literally so excited. Um, but so in Hagrid's Forbidden Journey, it's phenomenal. And it's like, so you know, Hagrid rides around on a motorbike and then he puts Harry in his little sidecar a lot of the times.
Yeah.
So it's literally like that's the ride system is you're on a motorbike and then somebody's in the sidecar. And I will say it's two totally different experiences if you're on the bike versus the sidecar. But if you're riding the bike, it's incredible. It's
God.
crazy. You feel like you're on a flying bike. It's insane.
Ooh, I think I found one more for us to compare. Uh,
Okay.
Kang and
Like this.
Kodo's twirlin' ride. That's
What?
The Simpsons themed like teacup ride.
Uh,
I mean every theme park has a teacup ride. Like Dollywood has their
yeah.
teacups, Disney World has the Mad Hatter's teacups, and now, Universal. Well, not now. They've always had King and Kodo's twirling ride or whatever. Um, Honestly,
Yeah.
theming wise, I love anything Simpsons themed. I mean, our family are big Simpsons lovers, so when I think about anything Simpsons themed, I'm already kind of appealed. I'm already intrigued. So, and Mad Hatter, it's cool,
Yeah.
but
That's
I don't
fair.
know.
I feel like Mad Hatter though is like the first like teacup ride. Like it's like the first. It was the first one, I think. I could be wrong.
Really?
Was the teacups at Disney the first ride like that? Let's see. I'm pretty sure. Oh no, just kidding. No, the Disney's Mad Tea Party, the spinning teacup ride, was not the first ride of its kind. While it's a classic and well known, similar teacup rides existed before its debut. The teacups at Disneyland were first introduced in 1955 as part of the park's opening day attractions.
Yeah. One of my favorite spinning rides I've ever done was the spinning raspberry at the was a Christmas event that we went to.
Fantasy of trees.
Yeah, fantasy of trees in downtown Knoxville, and me, Wyatt, and Preston were spinning it so fast that people thought it was gonna break, and we just kept
Yes.
saying, "Spin that strawberry," or "Spin that." Yeah, I think it was "Spin that strawberry" in French. So we were like, "Turn cette phrase, turn cette phrase."
Oh my God.
It was great. Okay,
Ridiculous.
last. I have two rides that I do want to ask if they have comparisons. So these are rides that I
Okay.
want to know if you have any Universal rides for, just because I'm curious.
Okay.
We'll start with the one that I think that they do, and that's the barn. No, 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 no. Barnstormer. That's not what I'm thinking of.
That's the kid coaster.
Yeah, at first I was thinking the Barnstormer from Dollywood, and then I thought that Universal had like the big swinging pirate ship or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
scratch that, scratch that. No,
Okay.
the one I
Okay.
really want to know if they have a comparison for is the Haunted Mansion. Is there any that you feel like compete with the
Ooh.
Haunted Mansion? Because that's a great ride, classic at Disney World. So,
Let me think.
because
They
that one,
don't have a ton of dark rides at Universal.
yeah,
Um, I don't know. The only things I could think of would be like E.T. or something, where it is that like slower ride that's taking you through a story. But I would really say E.T. is closer to like Peter Pan in terms of a dark ride. Like you end up flying on the bike and things like that. So I don't know. I don't think so.
I mean, Haunted Mansion's a pretty unique ride, because like you said,
Yeah.
it's got that slower demeanor that like a kiddie ride would have, but then it has that darker theme. So
Yeah.
I don't know, because like Yoshi's Adventure in Super Nintendo World is supposed to be a slower kiddie ride, and probably
Yeah.
has a similar mechanic to how it moves. But well, actually, no.
Yeah.
I think the Mario Kart one probably has a more similar mechanic.
Well, and like that's Disney's haunted house, right? And I don't know that Universal has, I mean, don't get me wrong, they have haunted houses. They have Halloween Horror Nights, which, they transform the park into what? Sorry, Lucas has something to say about haunted attractions.
Yeah.
But like you could say that Disney does, haunted or Universal does, Halloween Horror Nights and all these haunted houses and things like that, to where that's comparable, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not a ride, but you see what I'm saying?
So, okay, I will do, because I know we're already almost at 45 minutes, so we're already at podcast length.
Yeah.
But one more general ride theme that I want to bring up is live shows. So I don't know if Universal has a lot of live shows. Obviously, Disney has a ton of them. Phantasmic. You have the Lion King show. You have the Finding Nemo show. They have tons of different live action musicals and stuff at Disney World. So are there any at Universal that you can think of that they do that might compare in any way?
They have like the Born show or whatever, which I've heard is fantastic. I've never seen it. I feel like that's usually not my focus when I go to Universal, but I do know that they do have some very good shows. They do like smaller shows, for example, in like the Harry Potter area, where they have like the Beauxbatons from like the fourth book there, and they sing, or they have the Toad Choir or something like that. So they do a lot of like random immersive experiences like that as well. I would say like Halloween Horror Nights, they're pulling out all their stops for things like that, where they're, they have haunted houses that you're walking through and they have live actors. They do have the show. They do have the show in Burke now, which is going to be the How to Train Your Dragon show, which looks pretty incredible.
Yeah, that's cool.
So they do have some. That's never, like I said, that's never really been my focus when I go. So I don't know that I can really speak on it, but they definitely have some.
So what is the Toad Choir? You mentioned that, and now I'm kind of curious. Do they have like singing toads that walk around Super Nintendo World?
No, it's the toads in Harry Potter.
Oh,
and they have like little toad animatronics, and so they sing with the toads, and then occasionally the toads will sing. Oh my gosh! But I wish it was the toads from Nintendo.
I mean, that would be pretty awesome. That would be pretty awesome. Then it'd be Toad Choir versus the Dapper Dans. That's what I'm thinking.
Just saying, Universal, if you're listening to this, we want a Toad Choir.
We have 20 listeners, and one of them's got to be you. We know you're here. We know you're listening.
We know that's why you're inviting me to Epic Universe. Come on.
You're going to surprise Haley with the Toad Choir. That's what it is. You pull up. You pull up and you're like...
I'm just picturing like all those TikToks where Toad's singing.
Yeah, him singing like Adele songs. Oh my god.
Oh man. Well, on that note, I think we need to close it out for today. I might stop laughing. Oh my. Thank you all for joining us today. We hope you're one step closer to planning your next magical Disney or Universal vacation. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode. I'm not sure what we're talking about yet, but we'll come up with something. If you need any help planning your next Disney or Universal vacation, Universal's kind of complicated right now with Epic Universe opening up, so I'd love to help you. You can contact me at Haley.Ragsdale@academytravel.com. Follow me on Instagram at Haley Ragsdale Travel and Owen at O_Redderer. Until next time, bye-bye.
See ya.